Going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So today I am going to install a stereo. It's a double dim I think Kenwood stereo I'm going to install. So I'll go ahead and flip the camera and show you a little bit on how to do that. Alright. So this piece right here, all you got to do is pop the little plastic piece off. It'll come off. And then pull the stock stereo out, or whatever deck you have in there. And then I'm gonna go ahead and trim this back a little bit so I got some more room, and then cut these off and then wire them to where the hell, hold on, oh shit. Okay, yeah, and then go ahead, I'll clean all this up, cut all these off and wire those to these and then hook it up. This one's got a auxiliary cable and a USB connector. So it has a microphone too for Bluetooth, but I can't find it right now. I'll hook it up. I'll hook that up later. And then eventually I'm going to hook my subs up, my 10s, and do all that. But I'm going to get the stereo in first so we can get some music going. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and set the camera up and put you on a time lapse, and I'll be cutting all this shit off and redoing it. Okay, so what I got here, I got the owner's manual. These are all your setup, your wires, where they go, what color they are. So you can use this as a reference to your stock wiring. So it's all right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and go through that and see what's what speakers, what's ground, what's power, and all that. So yeah, so here's a little reference for wiring for stock. This is for the 0204 RSX. This is the owner's manual. So yeah, so I'll go ahead and trim those all up, clean those up, and then I will have to look on the back of the stereo, the one I'm putting in, and check with those wires. Alright, so I figured it out. Okay, so this is the harness wiring for the Kenwood. So gray, white, green, and purple are your speaker wires. Your blue with white is your remote wire going to your amplifier, which I'll hook up later. Basically, this is it's all the same with every stereo, just about. Red wire is ignition wire, which is the ACC, which will hook up to, where's ACC on here, which is the yellow red in the Acura, on the whatever, the stock harness, radio harness. Yellow red will hook up to red. Okay, so then we got yellow, which is constant power. Your constant power is going to hook up to your white red right here, which is constant power, white red. Okay, now you got this black, which is your ground, which is going to hook up to your ground. And the brown is for a ground for the microphone, for the Bluetooth microphone. So when the phone rings, it grounds out and be able to talk on it. So that's what the brown is, I'm pretty sure, I think. Okay, so this, I think it is, what color is this? Orange white is the dimmer control. So dimmer control, orange white, will hook up to the red one, which is your dash light brightness control gauge, which is by your tack, your dash is right there. So this orange white will hook up to that red. Okay, now we got, what color is this? This is light, whoa. This one's light blue yellow, which is a steering remote control wire. I will not be hooking this one up. If you had a control system on your steering wheel, this is the one you'd be hooking up. So I don't have that one, so I won't be using that one. I think that's the only one I won't be using. So yeah, so there it is. Red, which is your ACC, will hook up to your yellow red right here for your ACC main power supply. I mean, that's the main one you got to get. The yellow will hook up to your constant power, which is white red on the RSX. Right there, constant power. So you get those two right, and then get your black ground hooked up, you should get power. And then all the rest of the stuff is your other stuff, your dash dimmer, your speakers. So and then most of the time, if you keep your manual for your stereo, it'll tell you which ones are right, left, rear, that, etc. And then you just go ahead and match them up with these ones on right rear, right front, etc. So yeah, so there's that. So I'll go ahead and give you guys a little bit more close up of this so you can get a better picture of what the stock, this is out of the manual, so this is the stock wire setup out of the stereo. Alright, so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and already trim these ones back and get it and have them ready for when I, oh shit, sun glare, oh, sorry about that, have it ready for when I trim these back to hook up the connectors right here, connectors for the wires. And then I will also be using the heat shrink tubing to make sure they're secured, or nice. So yeah, all the stuff you can get from Harbor Freight. So I'll go ahead and clean those up and then turn it back on, and then show you how to hook the connectors and shrink tubing up. So yeah, so I'll go ahead and get all this cleaned up, and then I'll come back to you guys. So yeah, so I'll go ahead and show you how I do it, putting the connectors on and shit. Said I'm not a professional stereo installer, so this is just the way I do it. It works for me. So yeah, so I'll just show you guys what I do, and if it works for you, that's good. Save you some money on not having a professional do it. So here we go. So first thing I'll do, it's kind of hard to do this with one hand. First thing I'll do is I'll take and get my shrink wrap. Sorry. Yep, have my shrink wrap right here, shrink wrap tubing. Go ahead and slide that, let it slide down. And then take my connector, put my connector on, and then I'll crimp it. Then after you get it crimped, give it a little tug, make sure it don't come off. Then you'll grab your shrink wrap, or shrink tube. I don't know why I keep calling it shrink wrap. You'll grab your shrink tube, slide it on, and then you'll grab your heat gun and then heat it up, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, so I got all these connected. I'm going to, when I do those ones in there and connect them to here, I'm not going to crimp them yet. I'm going to crimp them, but I'm not going to shrink wrap them yet. I'll basically put the shrink wrap tubing on them, and then when I'm ready to, when it's done and I know the radio's working, then I'll go ahead and shrink wrap them to them, just in case there's, I messed up and I need to take a wire off or something. So yeah, so I'll go ahead and do this, and then I'll get those all ready and get them wired up into here, and then I will turn the camera back on when I got power to the radio. So for the connectors, I use these ones, which are a 22 to 16 AWG butt connector. The ones I use to use the connectors, and I use for the tubing is a 13/16 tubing. I cut them in half and used 2 of them, or cut them in half, that way you can get 2 out of 1. So yeah, those are the ones I used. Yeah, so I got everything hooked up, it works. Went and hooked those all up and shrink wrapped them, or shrink tubed them, whatever. So everything's hooked up. So yeah, so the only problem I had with was trying to figure out, I had it turned on, it had power, but I wasn't getting no sound coming out. So there is a brown wire that is hooked up to the stock harness. That's hooked up to the stock harness that you need to hook in with the red wire, the ACC. The brown wire hooks up to the amp. So yeah, you got to hook that one in with the yellow red to the red ACC, and then everything worked fine. So yeah, that was the only thing I had a problem with. But yep, everything's good. So I'm gonna go ahead and button it up, and then I'll turn it on and show you guys a little sound clip.
Wonderful innovation.
There it is.
Well, we just
all hooked up.
Oh, you did more than that.
So yeah, so there, everything's working good. Antenna's hooked up. So yeah. So I hope that little video helped you guys out for the stock harness on what's what and how to hook up a radio to it. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, and K all day.
Your love is true. Your love is real. You're the only one.